up, world? It is your girl, Tiffany Deni. It is the Tiffany Deni Show. As always, I thank you all for checking me out, tuning me in, whether it's live or whether I hear from y'all in a couple of days on Spotify. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all know we have so much to talk about in just this last week alone about what has happened in this world and our community. We had elections last night in our community. We got to talk about R. Kelly. We got to talk about verses. We got to talk about Roe versus Wade. We have a lot to talk about. So chill, because we got a lot to get through. It's DJ Appreciation Week, or month. So y'all know I have been bringing my DJs on. Last week I had Gravity, and I was so excited to have him. And I had Diablo, and I was so excited to talk to him this week. I am so blessed to have DJ Craftmatic and DJ Bumpmaster Buttons with us today, and they will be talking to us. You know I love my DJs. There's no hip-hop without DJs, and y'all know how much I love my hip-hop. So I am excited for today's show. This is going to be a lot. First of all, let's talk about last week what we had going on in Colorado Springs, which was the Beat, Eats, and Sneaks that we had brought to us by Craftmatic, Kate Sheba, and Cliff Cage. It looked like it went extremely well. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it, but you know we're going to talk about it when we talk to Craftmatic. This week we also have a silent disco going on too, one at Kawadi's and one at another location that we're going to talk about when we get Craftmatic on the show. We also have Joey Badass coming at the Mission Center or Mission Ballroom in Denver in July, so y'all know I'm going to always keep y'all updated on what's going on. And then also, if you missed the Good Life podcast last week, they gave away those Kendrick Lamar tickets. So keep in touch with me. I'm going to keep in touch with what's going on. So the first thing we need to talk about, in my opinion, just because this seems to be the hot button issue of the week, is this Roe versus Wade overturning. And there's layers to this. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to this. It is ridiculous. Like, I understand and respect everybody's point of view when it comes to this. But I do think that if your decision is based off of your own personal religion, we should reevaluate the open-mindedness of how we feel about things. I don't feel that we should overturn anything that has to do with race or gender in a backwards way. I don't understand that. If it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I respect everybody's decision. Personally, I think this was a step back for our country, and I don't think that this is going to benefit in the way that some people think it's going to benefit. I definitely encouraged everybody to get out to the polls. Shout out to Mr. Tony Exum Sr. and Miss Regina English for winning last night in the primary Democratic nomination elections. But these are why y'all need to go out and vote. This is why it's important to use your voice. This is exactly why, because if you wait every 4 years and wait for that presidential vote, you'd have missed all the small stuff that's going on that you can change in your community. So please make sure y'all get out to these polls again in November for me, because we can't keep going backwards. We just can't. America has a lot going on. We can't afford to go backwards right now. It's just not a good time. So that is my plea to you all. Pay attention to what's going on in your world, especially in your country and especially in your community. We also have to talk about this Giselle Maxwell sentence for 20 years. I think it's light, but I don't think she's going to make it out. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but let's be real. Jeffrey Epstein didn't make it very long, and you playing with some high-profile people who got some high-profile connections. That's kind of scary. Like, so I think we need to quit playing with female life in general. So that's the big thing, but it's real different when you're messing with somebody's daughters in the sense of them being underdeveloped to make decisions of that magnitude. And speaking of that, R. Kelly just got sentenced to 30 years in prison. And I feel the least bit sorry for him. You set yourself up. It happens like that. We let it slide for a while, so I don't feel no sympathy. We knew what happened with Aaliyah. We was there with the sex tape. We saw a Boondocks episode. I don't understand why you ain't stopped. That's just what it is. I think 30 years is fair, to say the least. And he is on everything from sex trafficking to racketeering to underage. So his charges was crazy. He got found guilty on 9 different counts. So that is 30 years for 9 different counts. But right is right, wrong is wrong. And sometimes you too old to act like you don't know better. So I don't know. I guess outside of DJ appreciation, I do want to just emphasize protecting the women around you and the women in your community, because somebody has to. We also have to talk about what's going on with the election in our community and in the country, so that is something that I will be recapping on tonight. I have a lot more to talk about today. We do have to talk about the verses. Y'all know I'm gonna bring it up. Y'all know I gotta talk about it. Too excited to bring this up, because if y'all saw it and y'all saw what I saw, then you know it's a lot. So the verses was, and this is just random, but Bobby Valentino, Sammy, Ray J, and I can't ever remember the fourth one when I'm talking. That's how random it was, but give me a second. So we said Ray J, Bobby Valentino, Craftmatic, help me out.
Pleasure.
There we go. Pleasure P. And what sucks too is that before the verses, I actually thought for a second that out of those four, Pleasure and Sammy kind of would have had it, because Pleasure kind of had the hits, and I always know Sammy stays on the road. Sammy was just out here at the Black Sheep, actually, so shout out to him. He was out here with Eric Bellinger. He's one of my, and Eric Bellinger is definitely one of my favorite R&B artists of all time. So it was kind of a random lineup, and I don't know, it gave 4 young deacons at a church vibe with alcohol. It was a lot happening on that stage, so if you didn't check out the verses, please check out the verses, because it's entertainment for the whole fam. Well, not the whole family. I would never suggest anybody under 17 watch that, even though for some reason Ray J had his son on his shoulder for like 10 minutes of the set. It was a lot happening. And then you already know, if you saw that final round with Omarion and Mario, it was an annihilation, to say the least, which really sucks, because I really think everybody went in thinking Mario was going to win in the back of their minds, but really kind of thinking Omarion was going to win because he has like the B2K name and the hits and the resume, but real is real, and I'm not going to say Omarion is fake, because technically I really don't think Omarion sounded different on stage than he do on the records. Like, he was the only person I was like, this is how he's been sounding. I felt like everybody else on the stage may have had some assistance. And then if you watched it, you already know Mario came out on top in every single way when it came to just overall showmanship, overall talent. Like, Mario spanked that ass. It's just what it is. Like, and he did it embarrassingly. Like, he really caught Omarion a dancing little, like 3 times on stage. That's embarrassing when you losing to still be taunted. So, I don't know. As a Virgo, and as a Virgo from Baltimore, I'm not saying I get it, but I understand. Just don't get us gassed. But Mario did amazing. I think also too, it almost felt like Omarion went into this verses off his name, as opposed to Mario going into this verses off of preparation. And I'm not going to show favoritism because I'm a huge Omarion fan, but I will say that Mario was just out here at the Juneteenth festival, and he absolutely killed it. Absolutely killed it. So all I could think was, and wonder, is how much Mario has been staying on the road and has been out here with the people and has been out here with the fans, because he was on stage like he never left. Whereas some people look like they may have left. Personally, I would have loved a Mario versus Lloyd type of vibe. I felt like that may have been a little bit more fun, but I respect that they were in LA, and it just felt very LA. Omarion tried. He brought out everything. I think this boy went through, what, like 3-4 outfit changes. Like, they done brought out the watermelons. That was weird, bit cringy. It was just a lot. It was a lot. Like, I genuinely think one was basing off the show, whereas one was basing off the talent. And I was rooting for everybody on the stage, and it kind of sucks because it feels like the only person who won was Mario on the grand scheme of things, and Mr. No Publicity is bad publicity, Ray J. Ray J definitely is kind of winning off of this as well, because he is probably the most memed celebrity on social media this week. I have not seen this many memes and clips of anybody in a long time, and they are all entertaining. So shout out to everybody making those Ray J memes, because if he don't give us nothing else, he'll give us something to retweet. That's just Ray J. That's just no press is bad press, right? At least that's what they say in Hollywood. I don't know. I say keep a low profile or no profile so you get a good profile, but that's just me. Either way, Ray's made it work, and it's working for him, and this boy done got a ramen deal this week, so I'm going to just stay in my lane. The verses was definitely the fun part of the week, though, as opposed to all the other stuff that's going on. And then on top of that, y'all know I love the culture, so no matter how you slice it, whether you like these 6 brothers or not, whether you think they're talented or not, all 6 of these brothers still had the sauce when they had the sauce. And that goes all the way from the year 2000 all the way up until what? When was the last hit from one of them? Probably like 2016-ish, I don't know. Like, but who do we hear from first? Sammy came out in 2000. Mario came out in 2000. Pleasure P was what, 2005. You got Bobby V, who came out in that 2005, 2006 era. You have, I keep forgetting all these people. Ray J been around for as long as I can remember. He just been Brandy's little brother my whole life. With great respect to Ray J. I understand the career. I still listen to that first album, that Wait a Minute, that track still bumps. I love pretending to be Lil Kim in the mirror, so shout out to Ray J. It's just, these are still some people who were at some point a part of the game and the culture, so you gotta respect it, because we made them number one at some point, and all of them, if you either got the sales or the charts or both. So it's all respect, but I definitely am just very happy for Mario, because I feel like he's one of our underrateds, and it was an opportunity for him to get his flowers. And I also was quite impressed with Sammy, because I felt like nobody acknowledges him, and I get it, because he's more underground and independent, and his career's been a bit rocky. But I've always felt like he was talented, and I appreciate any artist who has started out as a kid and they continue to keep trying to push this in a positive or an evolving fashion. So respects to Sammy too, because I thought he did all right. But Jeremiah, why? Just why? Like, it ain't even like I don't appreciate a Jeremiah song. It's just him. I just didn't understand why he was there. But no press is bad press. That's what they say in LA. I live in Colorado, so I'm not there. So we gonna get it. Either way, it was viewed. It got results. It's gonna get these boys some numbers. It's gonna get them some streams on their catalogs, and that's the purpose of Versus now. You know, it started in quarantine with Swiss and Tim, and I think that was more out of boredom and male ego, just because they just really couldn't figure out of the two of them which one was the better producer. And I don't know. I would rather see Timbaland and Pharrell go head to head. I think that would be a competition. And then I also think my dream versus would be Usher versus Justin Timberlake as well. And I know y'all gonna look at me crazy, so let me explain myself. Everybody thinks it should be Usher and Chris Brown. No, let's talk time frame, age, and then it's culture versus vulture. So I would love to see a Justin Timberlake versus Usher. I think it would be absolutely amazing and entertaining to watch. And I think it would be one good time where we can appreciate Usher for real. Like, we want to talk about people that's been in the game for a ridiculous amount of time and still dropping records. So that one, and then Beyonce versus Pink. And another one where I know y'all looking at me crazy, but let's think about this. Time frames, similar. Hits, similar. Songwriting, similar. It's just one's more of a pop rock genre and one's more of a R&B pop genre. But technically, when it comes to streams, numbers, hits, and performancing, nobody matches Beyonce like that but Pink. Both of them like to do all this extra flipping stuff over the crowds during the concerts and show you their 7 octaves and have songs that make you cry in the car. So personally, I think my favorite verses in my dreams would be Usher versus Timberlake and Beyonce versus Pink. Hello. Welcome back. It is your girl Tiffany Deni at Deni the Godmother. I am here right now, literally, with 2 of my personal favorite DJs in Colorado Springs. I'm not saying they the best, but they not the best. I'm just saying these are like some of my favorite DJs, some of my favorite people in the city. Like, we gonna start with Bumpmaster Buttons. Bumpmaster Buttons has been at this for a while. Bumpmaster Buttons was the first person to actually give me that shot on the radio, to actually take that chance on me and believe in me. So I am so geeked that he's here right now to talk to me. And we already know we got Craftmatic here. Craftmatic be all over the city, everywhere. I met Craft probably about 10 years ago. And now this man, I told him on Juneteenth, you gotta stand in line to meet Craftmatic now. It's not even a joke no more. It's not even a game no more. Like, so I am so excited to have both of y'all on here. Thank you so much for joining me, both of you. We are gonna talk. We are gonna have some conversations. The first thing is I'm gonna ask y'all, why are y'all DJs?
Because I fell in love with the culture. I think that was my contribution to hip hop. Like, when I first decided I wanted to be a part of it, I think the thing that drew me the most was the music. I don't know. I never thought I never thought I'd be good enough to be a rapper, so I never tried to rap. But once you start learning how to DJ and compose a set and make the people move and get the energy going, man, that's a whole different like high. You know what I mean? And it's always been one of my things too. Like if I ever have an issue in life or a problem, throw on my headphones for a minute, I'll disappear in that world, and I'll come back and I'll be all right. So I think for me, that's one of the reasons why I became a DJ. It was just not only did it help me out and take away from whatever was going on because I was listening to a cut for 3 minutes and 50 seconds or whatever it was, but it also made other people happy, and it also made other people get up and dance and make people, you know, enjoy life. Even if it's just for 3 minutes and 50 seconds to that cut, they're out there doing what they're doing, they're dancing. And to me, that really was probably why I love doing what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yo, actually, he covered a lot of it. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, like for real. I was a rapper. When I did meet you, I was rapping. I put out numerous projects. I went on the road with Bone Thugs and Harmony. I've opened for tons of artists like Twista, Gilly the Kid. Like, as a rapper, I'm pretty accomplished. But at the same time, like, it just wasn't the thing for me anymore. Like, I lost a lot of passion for it. A lot of the politics and things like that really just made me stray away from it. But I never wanted to get away from music. I could never get away from music. And I ended up just finding this outlet of learning how to DJ. I got a lot of DJ friends growing up in the scene and stuff like that, and I just wanted to learn. You know, I thought it would just be fun until I actually started doing it. And the same thing that Pushmaster Bump over here, he said, hey, like, you get people in front of you, you get those people out in front of you, and you see them having the time of their life from the songs that you're playing, and you can see and feel that energy. It's nothing else like it. It's super intoxicating. I love that part of it, and it just became a part of me. Like now, I don't look back at all. Like even though I did all this music and I can do all these things, and you know I got tours and all that. That don't matter when you don't, you know, people don't really resonate with it. But as a DJ, I feel like people resonate with me, and I can actually show my soul of who I am as a DJ too. So definitely, it's an outlet for me.
So I have a two-part question. It's DJ Appreciation Month, y'all. As I've mentioned, I have a two-part question. The first question is, who is your favorite DJ? And the second question is, who do you think is the best DJ?
My favorite DJ? DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Facts.
You know
Yes.
what? Yo, and I'm gonna tell you why. When Rock the House came out, there was a cut on there where it was just the DJ. And it was a beat, and he was scratching. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, that's dope. You know, I want to learn how to do that. Because I didn't want to be a DJ like tour DJ. I wanted to be a DJ where I could cut and scratch and all that. You know what I mean? I beat juggle to this day. The other day, my son was coming by, and I was beat juggling and went behind my back, and he was all like, for real? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you know, nobody gets to see that part of me because I do that at home. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, but that's what I wanted to be. I didn't want to be like, and I'm glad that I didn't want to be a radio jock, but I'm glad I was a radio jock. Yeah. I didn't want to be work at an adult entertainment club, but dude, I'm glad I worked there. You have no idea the music knowledge I've learned from there. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then I worked downtown. And that was a cool experience because the job down there, I was a gas, and it was rock. So I got to blend rock and roll music, which is actual live drummers. It's not a beat machine. So timing is different on that. Yeah. So when you're sitting there spinning it, you got to spin it and keep it under control. You got to know when the beat changes up because the drummer changes up. And that really, like, when you start listening to more music, man, it's like, whoa, you know, I didn't hear that in the background. Yeah. I didn't hear that dude's voice compliment this. And then you just start listening and get going, and the next thing you know, man, it's just, okay, well, you know. And that's why I think, going back to Jazzy Jeff, I think that's why he's my favorite and the best, because when he came out with those songs, he was scratching them, doing the breaks, breaking it down. He was doing the Transformer scratch. He was doing all this back in 87, whatever, you know what I mean? Yep. So to me, that I was like blown away. I was like, I want to do that. And you know, my first thing I ever DJ was a 6th grade dance, and I was in 6th grade. It was for my class. Oh, so you know what I mean? Really tough. Yeah. So so and you know, just keep going with it. So that's really what it was for me. That's Jazzy Jeff, man. And then, you know, you start looking at the Cubers and the guys that scratch. I love that stuff. I love watching the DMX finals. I think those guys are phenomenal. I think that's making the turntables into an instrument. Yeah. No longer are you like throwing a party and doing blending music, which is great. You know, I love to do that, but at the same time, you turn turntables into an instrument. Right. And you create something brand new out of something that we've heard a million times. And you're like, oh, I can't believe he broke it down like that. Like, he beat juggled that. This dude made a song from Star Wars, the sound out of two. You know what I mean? Yeah. And for real, you just like, to me, that's the most amazing thing. I wish I was more creative in that genre. Yeah. When we was on lockdown, I kid you not, I spent an hour every night practicing my scratch skills. Yeah. I would sit there, look at tutorials, and I would practice, and I would beat juggle, and I would do whatever. Because, you know, DJing and transitioning, I love to do that. I love mixing stuff. I mean, my kids probably heard the most wildest stuff. Concerts you've ever heard, because I'm always in my living room playing around. But to me, you know, that is what I always wanted to be, and that to me has been the challenge of DJing. I could always get better at that, you know, just cutting, scratching, beat juggling. I mean, I like my transitions. I think my transitions are good. I like my playlists are good. I think I capture people at the right time. I love getting people on the floor. I've gotten a guy in a wheelchair on the dance floor once, so if you've accomplished that, then you know you're doing good. But,
you know, you hit it right there.
Yeah, but it's just that one step above that, I think, you know, that I want to get, you know, if I could do more. But that Jazzy Jeff is definitely my inspiration, for sure.
Is that, were you sticking with Two Craft?
Yeah, no, Jazzy is my inspiration behind DJing. He is literally my favorite DJ. He is the reason why I wanted to DJ. The first time I saw him, I went to, well, it wasn't my first time DJing, but like really took me to the next level was when I first saw him. I actually got to watch him. I went to South by Southwest, probably like 2010, and that's when I really tapped in, because I was paying attention to it. I know the roots, I know all the things, but it was just like, I was only worried about mixing. I wasn't worried about scratching. I wasn't trying to learn how to scratch either. That's the main thing. I loved, and then I like really looked up the history and watching it. Like Jazzy Jeff literally created one of the most. It's a top four basic scratch. Like it's one that you have to learn as a DJ. If you don't have it in your repertoire, then you might as well put it away. And that's the chirp scratch. And it's like, yeah, you see a guy doing stuff like that. He is an inventor of part of what we do. He is literally the best. He is literally the best. I ain't seen nobody like there. Just as I said, Qbert, I put him in there. Z Trip, DJ Craze, A-Track. Like all of these guys who won the DMC championships, like I definitely try to take bits and pieces and emulate them somewhat, but Jazzy Jeff is like who I really look up to. His music, from music selection to the transitions to, you know, just how he does things, like definitely. And I love all kinds of DJing, like house music is probably my favorite genre to play majority of the time, but I started out as a hip-hop DJ. I've always been a hip-hop guy, so when it comes to actual DJing, bar none is definitely Jazzy.
And see, I have two things I need to piggyback off of what y'all said as far as questions. So the first thing I'm gonna ask is to Craft, what you mentioned in house music. What do you think about this wave coming right now? I'm in the mix of how I feel about it, just because I am not 2022 house music fan yet.
Right.
It's something that you know, it seems predated, and it just feels like people are treating it like it's new. I think that's the frustration, not the revampment, but the fact that people are treating house music like it's a new,
like it's died or something.
Yeah,
like it died completely. Yeah, I saw that somebody. I don't even know what publication it was, because I just seen it just getting screenshotted all over social media, and it was one of talking about how Beyonce has revived house music, and I about died. Yeah, well, it's a super reach, because as I tell my friends or anybody that
respectfully to the queen.
Facts. I mean, hey, great track. I mean, I love the track. It's cool. You know,
but it sounds revival is.
It sounds Robin-esque, you know, or
Crystal Water.
Yeah, all that '90s style. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just basically '90s piano house type stuff from back in the day.
A lot of that stuff though they're trying to hit retro with. Like you get a lot of the pop stuff nowadays.
Yeah,
the Weeknd.
I was gonna say the Weeknd. Yeah. Weeknd's his whole album was an '80s synth wave, like.
You know, and it's funny because I lived through the '80s, so it really was. You know, it was kind of like that vibe. But I get what they're throwing out, because everything comes in a full circle.
Yeah, always.
But you know, again, you know, working in EDM is one thing that I really had to learn working where I'm at now, because it is a popular genre, right?
Yeah,
and there's so many subgenres with that. There's so many different places that you could go. So to come out and say that somebody's reviving any kind of like that, that.
Well, that's the crazy thing is like house music. As I told my people, I said house music is like football, soccer of the world. It may not be huge in America, but everywhere else, it is massive.
Really big,
it is massive.
If you go into that European, Asian,
yes.
anything.
South Africa has like 8 different types of house music that they have on their own, from piano to what is the other one that my boy just put me on? I don't even know. There's a whole bunch of them. It's just like African house.
That is one thing. Like I said, you in the EDM, the subgenres in EDM are crazy.
Yeah,
it's just it's everywhere. And like you said, it's global.
Yeah,
so every time you listen to something, it's something completely new, or because I try to listen to that as much as I can. I'll be on the treadmill trying to listen to new tunes because I'm constantly digging, trying to find something new. Trying to find something new that I can throw on. And a lot of it is like you've either heard that style before,
right,
or it's such a far reach where it's just not. It's just not, what I mean?
And I'm going to piggyback off of something you said, Bump, and that was learning different music. So my question is, what is a song that has got incorporated into y'all's arsenal as a DJ that is one of y'all's favorite songs to play now that you would have never listened to on your own if you were not a DJ?
A lot, because one of the rules of being a DJ is you never get to play what you like.
This is a personal question. What is a personal song that you found and was like, I didn't even know this song was like hot like that? Like,
let me see, man. There's so many. Okay, can I name an artist?
I would love it.
Tiger.
Okay.
Tiger was one.
You know what? I actually have a lot of love for Careless World, the album. So I can see that.
Because first of all, where I work at now, he saves my ass a lot.
He has the music for
it. His production, man, he matches well with his production. And I'm gonna say that he'll come out with a hot joint, and the track will be hot, and his voice flows with it. It's kind of like a Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where Snoop Dogg just sounds fucking dope on no matter what the fuck you're throwing on, because it's Snoop Dogg. You know what I mean? I don't know if I can cuss. Sorry about that.
You're good.
But it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, the same thing with him. I never realized that I would be a Tiger fan, but then I started listening to him, and maybe that's what, like I said earlier, I kind of miss like the Jazzy Jeffs and the Kid and Plays. And even though it's fun, it's more sexually fun because he goes into that route. But it's more of a fun vibe, you know what I mean? He ain't talking about going around and shooting people up and this. I mean, maybe there's some songs, but the majority of the time is shake your ass, make some money, whatever. There's party club, there's party shit. And that's what I think it is. And I think that's why I would appreciate him if I wasn't a DJ, I think, because I wasn't a fan of his. And then once I started listening to the music, I'm like, you know what? This is party music. This right here is pretty cool. Like, you can throw this on. And there's a lot of tracks. And then he helps me discover other MCs or whatever because
he works with a lot of people.
A lot of people,
on a lot of different tracks.
A lot of different tracks.
That's a good one. That's a good question, and that was a good answer, to be honest. Because I'm really trying to scour through my head of anybody that I've recently come across that, and I guess it could be if it's like any genre. It's not. It's the same thing. I learned, especially living here in Colorado. You were gonna be influenced by everything else. We didn't have a hip hop station coming up here or anything like that. You had to find those times where those tracks were on and things like that. So I always messed with rock and punk and all kind of stuff like that. So I would say for me, man, especially as of late that I've been listening to a lot or just kind of came back in full circle for me was recently the I just drew a blank right now. Jack White.
Really?
Jack White. His last album was Fuego. I love it. It is Jack White is super dope. I'm a big fan of the Black Keys because he collaborates with hip hop guys anyway. Mm-hmm. So that's really how I got into Jack White anyway. Is because they did a album. It was a remix album. The Black Keys did a remix album of the Chico Dusty album for Big Boy. Really? Super fire. Yeah. They've done a couple of them. They've done a couple different ones. Anything like Jack White. So White Stripes always has been something that I always play. So Seven Nation Army is always honestly that's one of the biggest white people songs in the world.
No,
you throw that joint on,
it's
usually gonna bring a floor for real. I hate to say it that way, but it's true.
It is a vibe. I mean,
especially out here in Colorado. I do a lot of events I've done sporting events to DJing at a gym, whatever it is. That song is continuously in my sets. Even when I'm playing somewhere, I'll do a silent disco, whatever it is, that type of song makes it in there.
So, what are y'all's favorite events to DJ? What is y'all's favorite things? Like, last week, Gravity and, I keep drawing a blank, but either way, they said they hated doing weddings.
Dude,
Yes.
bro, I was gonna say that.
Yes.
I was gonna say that. The last time, look, I kid you not. The last time I had to do a wedding, I had to see a massage therapist for the week before going up because I had a knot in my shoulder. It was so bad because it's one of those things where you don't want to mess it up. The last thing you want to do at a wedding is have people think, "Oh my God, you know the DJ sucked." Right. That was it. You don't want. You want to be invisible. Like, the only thing they want is when it's time for you to cut the cake and whatever. That's the only time you want them to notice you, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And I practice.
It seems to be concurrent. My
problem is I'm a workaholic, so I practice. I'll throw down 2 hours every day for about a whole month before I do the set. So I know I have it down, and I know. I got to tell my son, what's the difference between a professional and an amateur? An amateur practices till they get it right. A professional practices till they don't get it wrong. And that's what I deliver when I go do these events. So I put a lot of stress on myself. Yeah. So I think that's what it is with me with weddings. Like, I just don't like doing them. Now, I've had a lot of success with them, and a lot of people recommend me for them. But, you know, if I ever choose not to.
Yeah. No, that's facts. I think it's the same for me. I think I hate doing weddings for the fact of, it is a lot of pressure. There is a lot that can go wrong. For the most part, like, the partying part is the easiest part. Like, I always get booked to do the whole thing. So imagine doing, like, their walkout music, all of that. Like, if they're playing their ceremony, that is huge pressure if you mess that up. Like, you're messing up somebody's big day.
In the intro, when you got
like when the bride is coming, all the stuff.
Yeah, that's, you know, because you're a DJ, you ain't an MC. That's a whole, and that's what it is. At that point, you turn into an MC.
Yeah.
You bringing it on.
That's why I charge for it, though.
For real. That's why it costs a lot. And a free meal.
Honestly, for real, like, it had the free meal.
Every DJ has that answer. Every
to.
DJ loves the free meal.
Well, and the money. So the biggest thing about the wedding, for real, the wedding is the money. Like, that is where you make it. As a DJ, you can make a lot of money.
And that's why I practice so much, because like you said, that's why it's so stressful, because you know, hey, you know, this is what I charge. I'm going to come with it. You know,
I know people that charge like $4K for a wedding.
So what's something that y'all won't turn down if y'all get offered? What's something that's like, even if the money seems like it's on the up, like, but I love this type of event or this type of thing so much that, you know what, just because I get to be there. Do y'all have anything like that? Like,
I just did one for my brother. My brother's I did the car show down at the Citadel Mall like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, my brother's it was his car show, and he asked me to do it. So I did it. But I've been kind of like chilling, cutting back from doing like other stuff. Because I work every night. So I'm working 5 nights a week as a DJ. So I'm making a living off, thank God. You know what I mean?
That's really dope.
Yeah, it is dope, man. Because it's hard to find a good, steady gig. So,
you know, especially that pays enough to where you pay your bills.
Yeah, you know. And I went from working 3 jobs. Because I was working downtown DJ, working over there.
Yeah,
you know. And then I had a radio show and I was hustling. So
I'm sure my wife will be telling me, like, you need to find that.
And, you know, and you just kind of, you know, when you find something that you love to do, slow down. And I was able to slow down a little bit. You know, the parties and stuff. I love doing parties. I like doing, like, you know, family parties, get together parties. I've had that type of stuff. People going to the military, goodbye parties, those types of things. Those are usually the funnest ones for me, I would say. Because then everybody's having a good time, and they just out there really concentrating. They drinking a lot. So once you get into like, once you get into like that second, third hour, you return to Mac and you good.
Yeah, right. You know what? I actually struggle with a lot of those because, especially like a lot of my friends, we don't always listen to the same things. Like I feel like I got friends that definitely, like, I go to a lot of concerts. So I go do concerts with my friends that I know they're gonna enjoy the same style of music. Like, I go to a lot of house music concerts, I go to EDM concerts, I go to hip hop concerts. And I kinda have different friends that I go with those two, because a lot of people, especially being black, they don't like the house music shows, you know, things like that. That's the truth. Like, I'd be the only one there. So, you know, stuff like that. So it's hard for me to do those type of parties that that I feel like I don't know, like, all the stuff that's out right now. Like, I'm not good with those, so I'll turn those down. But I like doing like pop-ups. Like, I'm doing a pop-up actually this Saturday afternoon for my guys. This is like our 4th one. They do a clothing pop-up at an art gallery downtown at Art 111.
Tell me a little bit more about what you got going on with that.
Yeah, so my people, shout out Open the Company. They usually do a pop-up every couple of months. We'll show up there, have clothes, you know, get some drinks. We'll be chilling, and it's just a vibe, man. It's just vibey music, and they listen to the same kind of stuff that I do on that tip, which is more like chill, vibey, you know, remixes of new stuff, but with dope beats. You know, we call it, you know, future beats and selection. Like, have you ever heard of Selection? You ever heard of Selection before?
I have not, but I would love to hear.
Definitely check it out on Apple if you never have heard of Selection. He's a guy, started out in Cali. Long story short, he gained this collective of people at a college radio, and these guys are producers, DJs, all kinds of stuff, and they are my primary influence when it comes to music right now. When I talk about like new stuff, like they take R&B stuff, flip it, make it dope, like all the trap style beats that you hear nowadays, but more soul to it, and that's kind of what he calls it, is eclectic soul, you know, things like that is what it sounds like. It sounds like taking something old, making it new, but making it sound dope, and that's like a lot of my vibes.
That is one good thing about being a DJ, is you discover a lot of
music.
And it turns you on to stuff like Main Street and stuff, it turns you off really fast.
It does. And that's my problem. I think that's my problem.
It is. And, that's what I'm, you know, that's what I hear.
Yeah.
Because it is true. You hear so much, like I said, Return to Mac, but you hear it so much because that's such a mainstay song or whatever it is, you don't want to hear it no more.
Yeah.
So you end up turning to try to find, well, what else
just
is
like
there
anything
that
new,
that
like
can turn me on, that can spark me. Yeah.
None of these people are excited.
Where's the creative?
Yeah.
You start listening to it, and you start realizing the similarities in artists. You start realizing, oh, this is what makes a hit. They're selling these hits. This is why it all sounds the same. Yeah. So then you start looking for something different, and when you find it, you fall in love with it. Like, oh yeah, this is what I've been looking for, something different. Yeah. Something to take me where I need to be, not where they want to be, where I need to be for a minute. Let me come.
A lot of what I listen to, it doesn't even have like rappers or anything like that. If anything, it'd be like R&B will be involved with. It's usually like singers. That'll be about it. I don't like
I sit in silence. I don't know about
it.
I mean,
I like instrumentals.
No, for real.
Yeah, I like instrumentals.
I play so much music. I kid you not, every day.
Yeah.
Because where I work, man, I'm constantly looking for the new stuff. You know. Yeah. YG Tiger got a new one, came out yesterday. I heard you heard Logic's new album.
I haven't heard. I didn't even know Logic had a new album.
Exactly. Check his check his beats on his album, man. Like, it's a throwback album. It sounds like it's from the 80s. You know, I've been trying to hear, you know, I'm not going to give any things on Drake. I think Drake wrote, this is the first album he probably ever wrote by himself and just threw it out there. I'm just going to say that. But,
no, I hear you.
But I'm going to say he got the fan base to follow it. Yeah. And then you can't hate on that. Because I don't look at Drake as a rapper. I look at Drake as an entertainer.
Yes, he's a pop artist. He's a star.
So let him be him. He's a Post Malone in my book. You know, same thing with Post Malone. He ain't a rapper. You can't really put him in the category. He doing his own thing. I respect you for that, making money doing it. Yeah. I'll play you if I get requests for it, but you ain't my vibe, and that's cool.
Right.
Because I might not be your vibe, but that's cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's a lot of new things out here, you know. And then the trap rap stuff, I listen to a lot of that. So you talking Moneybagg Yo, Little Durk, all those dudes. Yeah. You know, it makes me upset because this is why I say the females is winning real quick. Is because these dudes, man, they're coming out here making it, doing it, and then end up being killed, put in jail, all this stuff. And I'm like, man, these are not the role models young black men need to see. This is not it. And I mean, and if you're making the money out there and you're able to produce your money, and that's how it happens, you know, you sell drugs, you're able to make your money, get your equipment, get going, try to do it's over and over in the history of hip hop, you know, a lot of artists.
Same story.
Yeah, you know, and it's just, you know, it's sad to see that it's still going on, that these men can't just be independent and you know, like Nipsey Hussle. You heard about that dude?
Conversation.
His accused shooter got beat up in prison.
Well, we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. But still, it's still
postponed it just for that.
But it's one of those things that, you know, why did that talent have to get taken away? And again, why do it have to be so synonymous with rap music? Why do you know the young youth got to be like that and be like, you know, again, maybe because I don't see the Fresh Prince in the kids that plays no more.
Why does it keep happening?
Yeah, why, you know.
That's the big question.
Is it the big companies putting it out there? Is it that the social influence? You know, hey, let me
have that
throw
conversation
it out there.
now. I know who to
Laura
bring
Cohen.
back. We have to have that conversation.
I don't want to make no names neither. That's what I said. Laura Cohen. 300 Entertainment. That's the one you
But, you know, you start talking about the female MCs, and I listen to a lot of music. I love rap styles. I love, you know, double entendres and stuff. I like Megan Thee Stallion. I really like her a lot. You start listening to her vocabulary is good. It's more than he, she, we.
She's a costume.
You know, and she is throwing out there. But you know what? That's strong, independent women that they've been. I was a cheerleader in high school. I worked at Bath and Body Works. I kid you not. So I know women have talked about that forever. It's just different coming out. Yeah. And you know what? In this day and age, especially now with Roe vs. Wade, maybe they need to hear that more out there. Because you know what? That's really what women are doing. They're living life too.
Right.
They live doing their thing. You know, you can't hate on that. You can't, because they're all people. Do what you need to do to make you happy, but at the same time, you know, just do it within a thing. You know, you don't go out and hurt nobody with it.
Yeah.
But
That's real.
and that's why I'm saying that's one of my favorite rappers out right now is Megan Thee Stallion, because I think she's.
I'm happy to see the women.
Great.
I'll have to say for me, it's just like it's kind of the same thing though for role models for like my daughter, like things like that. I look at like one of my favorite rapper, female rapper right now, holding it down. The rappers in general, is Rhapsody. She definitely holds it down.
I agree with both
For
of you.
she holds it down 100%, especially with lyrics, bars. But there's so many. There's so many right now. Little Sims from the UK, super fire. Had one of the best albums that I heard this year, or maybe it was late last year. And then there's just like a handful more that I'm like, yo, I can't remember. Oh, Che Noir that did a whole album with Apollo Brown, super fire. Like, ooh, hip hop. Like this, it's like hip hop, and it's just they talking about everything. They're talking about everything that it is today. And yes, I'm glad for women empowerment, absolutely. I just believe that when we just said it earlier, it was oversaturation of them trying to put out the same thing. They want to find the next Megan. They want to find.
That's what it is.
After that, and that's what it is right
but
now.
even with that being said, you know, as even when we were talking about, at least, you know, especially in that 90s era, when it came to female hip hop, it was just about balance. So we had the Salt and Peppers, we had the Left Eyes, we had the Lil' Kims, we had the Foxies, we had the Queen Latifahs, the Missies, the Yo-Yos,
the Brad, the Lady Ranges.
Like, so nobody's style had to be the same. Even when you look at, that's why Ladies Night, the remix, is thought of as one of those big female hip hop classics, because you have 5 MCs on this mic and not one of them sound the same. Their styles don't sound the same. Their image not the same. You know, and for those of y'all who don't know, Ladies Night will be Lil' Kim. It's gonna be Angie Martinez, who is one of my big heroes. It's also going to be the Brat. You got Missy on that, and of course Left Eye. Rest in peace to Baby
One of my
Girl.
favorite songs coming up. I don't know why.
And that's the issue I think right now that I have with female hip hop is the oversaturation of the same thing. We gotta go pay these
I
bills,
think that's hip
y'all.
hop in general. Just in general.
Child. Are you getting around after commercial break?
I gotta get to work.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. You know I'm going to have Bumpmaster Buttons up here soon. Me and him, we can get together and just talk about hip-hop for hours, and we will. So I definitely will have him back up here soon. We got to pay these bills. We got to talk to these folks. Real quick, Bumpmaster Buttons, how can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Bumpmaster Buttons, and then they'll find me there. You can also just look up Chris Garrett. Chris the Savage is my other DJ name that's on Facebook. But like I said, normally, man, you can also find me at the Snoopy Fox. I'm there every night. I work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, I mean, if you want to come down, we're open from 9. I'm there from 9 to 2, and we're open till 4 a.m. on Friday and Saturday night. So, if you want to come down there and check it out, I got 7 hours of music. And I'm off the wall. It's everything from hip-hop, to country music, to rap music, to everything. So, I got you covered.
That's super dope.
And then, Jordan, do I got you 14 more minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. No,
so, I will get with, after we take the break, me and Jordan going to talk. We're going to talk about beats, eats, and sneaks. We're going to talk about this Ninth Wonder show he just did and what he has going up. And I am so grateful and so humble to see you today, Mr. Chris Bumpmaster Buttons.
I love
Thank you so much for stopping by the show today, and you know I'm going to be in touch with you soon.
Yeah, please, that'd be awesome.
All right, y'all, we got to go pay these bills. We got
appreciate
more music coming from some of my favorite DJs. We already listened to Sweet Tea with DJ Jazzy Joyce, and we just listened to Run DMC as well with the late, great Jam Master Jay, and I got Onyx on the list speaking to him. So we will talk to you after this break, y'all. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Tiffany Deni Show. We are still here for DJ Appreciation Month. Y'all know we just heard a little bit of Terminator X right there from Public Enemy. He is definitely one. Well, Public Enemy is just one of my favorite hip hop groups of all time. Even with their constant, I don't know what they be going through. It seemed like some family stuff on the inside, but either way, they are pivotal, and I want to shout out the members of Public Enemy, but I don't know who's there right now. I know Chuck D's going to always be Public Enemy, and then depending on how him and Flavor Flav feel this week, Flav might be part of the group as well. So, shout out to Terminator X.
They be
also,
on Twitter acting up.
Brothers, they are brothers. I'm like, you might not like them, but y'all not going nowhere. Y'all like an old married couple.
Really?
Y'all just go through y'all season.
Chuck be on it on Twitter, too. Hilarious.
Giving Chuck D a social media account. You should just expect what you expect.
Oh, for sure.
Because if he wasn't scared to talk to y'all on the radio, he definitely not scared to talk to y'all on social media. I love his Twitter.
He's got the best.
Man, listen.
He's one of my favorites.
Man, listen. And then before that, we heard a comeback song, one of the biggest comeback songs of hip hop, and that was Mama Said Knock You Out by LL, and that was produced by DJ Marley Marl. And I think that was kind of like a big thing for both of them at that time, because at that time both of them were kind of being deemed like these old heads of hip hop, even though they were both really young. So they came back with this song, and that song put LL back on the map in the realest way. So I have DJ Craftmatic still here for DJ Appreciation Month. Y'all know how much I love my DJs. I love DJs because there's no hip hop without y'all. Shout out to DJ Kool Herc, who I shouted out last week because I feel like he's the father of modern day hip hop, and that's why we need our DJs. So we are here, and Craft, you have so much going on in this city, sir. So much. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is this last Beats, Eats, and Sneaks event that y'all had last week. Yeah. What is it, and how much fun is it? Because it always looks like it's such a blast.
Let me go live real quick, too.
You good, baby. I understand. Beats, Eats, and Sneaks is brought to us by Craftmatic, by Kate Sheba in the city as well, and shout out to Cliff Cage. I have so much love for everybody on that team right there. I think the three of y'all are a great trio.
Thank you.
So I appreciate what y'all are doing. But holler at me about this Beats, Eats, and Sneaks.
Yeah, so Beats, Eats, and Sneaks, we came up with it all together. Like, them is my people, them is my boys, K-Chief and Cliff Cage. We just been chilling, especially all through quarantine. It was like, yo, we were definitely like, we was all in the spot together.
Because they had a rap group with a female DJ behind them, because that's actually a great point to bring up, is that even with a lot of the female acts, you still see male DJs. And we're agreeing that they're out there somewhere.
They there. Yeah, you got to find
them. Given the opportunity, you'd be amazed.
Do you feel like that they don't get a fair shake, or what? I think the overall question is genuinely just what's y'all thoughts on this male-dominated field still being so male-dominated?
I don't think that it's that much male-dominated. I think it's just more that the opportunities are not given to the female DJs.
Yeah. That, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know as many either, like me personally, because I don't see them out. Like, it's like kind of like you said, I guess it is opportunity meets the preparation meets the skills, all the above.
And some don't stay long. They get in, and then when they don't get recognition, they get out before they put in the work to get it.
Like a lot of, it's actually really dope. So DJ Pearly, I met her actually in Denver. She won the DMCs, she was the first woman to win the DMCs. I was like probably like 4 years ago. She was the first woman to win the DMCs. So it's been very dominated, but she is one of the few women that actually compete. Like, she's actually at that level to where she's competing with the top level DJs that can win that. That is the world's title. You were the world, like if you were a heavyweight boxer, that's the title, and that's what she got. I don't see a lot of women actually putting themselves out there, especially in that format. Now, I know that they're out there because I have a few of them. Shout out my girl D Supreme. She was doing a lot of the stuff back in the day, and she's still doing stuff, but she mostly focuses on like producing. She used to do a lot of the internet radio out here. You know, shout out to my homegirl DJ Heat. She DJs for the Washington Mystics out in DC. You know, there's a couple. It's just like you have to know and find them and really see where there is. This girl Jyoti, she's Indian, lives in the UK, has one of the biggest followings now. You know, getting sponsored through Mixcloud and Rents FM out there and things like that. So I mean, I mess with a lot of women DJs. You just got to know who they are and find them. Like, you got to be able to know who they are. I know a bunch of them. I've met a lot of them. A lot of them really dope. It's kind of like what you said though. It's a little bit. I think it's a little bit of the gatekeeping, the stigma. And then, of course, these promoters and these guys are dirtbags, so they just want, for real. No, that's real, because all they want to do is they just want to have sex with them. That's it. That's all that they looking for. So they're not actually giving the true ones the opportunities, the ones that they know that they feel like they can get over on quick or put them in front of a big crowd. Like I said, EDM, like house music, women mostly drive that field. Like, there's a lot of them, a lot of them. Some of my favorite DJs are women in those spaces, because they are doing their own thing and they don't have to deal with that per se, because they're actually making noise, producing, DJing, you know, being on the festivals, doing all this stuff. And I see them a lot. So in that side of it, I see it. Hip hop side, not as much. You're right, and I think that does come down to all of the other things that we already see in hip hop, which is like, of course, the homophobia to anything else. There's a lot. It's very, very much similar to anything else that you will see along the game.
And so, I think I have another question as far as DJs. Do you guys feel like, especially in the hip hop community, we know the importance and the imperativeness of DJs, but do y'all feel like y'all get the love that y'all deserve or appreciate? That's that's y'all.
Yeah.
Because I feel like y'all are
I'll answer too, but definitely.
y'all are like these silent heroes of the culture.
No. The DJ
Why
has
is it
been
such a hard no?
the DJ has been replaced in a sense. Like there is no. It's funny because when you go to a show, look at any show you go to. Or if you go to a major concert, I think the only one that I've seen that didn't have like a main big DJ on it was J. Cole. I think most of his set was already set up and he had it played and timed out and everything like that. But every other person that you go see, they have to have a DJ. And the DJ is who keeps that show hyped. They're the one backing the vocals. They're MCing them. They're helping them cover. You know, they're the ones hyping up the crowd before they get on. All the above. But it's such, especially in hip hop, it is such a, like, we're in the backside of it. Like, you got these big elaborate stages and all this kind of stuff, and they're back in the back, like, you know, stuff like that. They're not front and center. They're not made to be a part of it. You know who actually still does stuff like that? Rock guys. Mixmaster Mike plays with, what band is he playing with right now? I feel terrible now.
You don't have to feel terrible.
It.
I've been asking
No, I'm trying to think of who he's with, but he DJs with like rock bands. He goes and do stuff like that. He gets his own set on the main part of the show. He's doing stuff on there, and that's Mixmaster Mike. He is a legend.
Yeah.
He's an OG, and he's been around a long time, and he gets that front and center. When Beastie Boys was still going around, and rest in peace DJ AM, he was doing all of that stuff with them. They made him front and center. It feels like the older generation probably still care, about that. But it's really crazy, like, to see how less the DJ is a part of hip hop today.
Yeah.
And I mean, y'all are like the reason we have.
Yeah, I mean, it's anywhere you go. How you put it? If you see a review in the paper the next day, you hear about the artist. You don't hear about the DJ.
Right.
That's fair, and y'all work longer and harder.
Before it's gone,
First one there, last one out.
First one there, DJ got to get the crowd hyped. If the crowd ain't hyped, the artist ain't gonna have a good performance.
Right.
All right, we got a viewer question. What's up, Evan?
We have a question from Sergeant Ford Academy. He asks, how has the game changed over the past years, and how do you guys keep up with changing technology?
That's a great question, actually. That technology question is
You gotta carry the crates though.
I learned on vinyl. That's how I started out too. So I mean, I didn't necessarily have to carry crates, but it's like same thing. Like even today, like matter of fact, when I did BTs and Sneaks on Sunday, I used my turntables for the first time in a minute because I don't bring them out. I don't need to. I leave them at home, and I'll use them at home. I play them at home in practice. Yeah, that's for practice. I think that's how you keep your skills sharp. But the technology is actually what makes it easier. And some of it is a cheat code. Like, y'all got one right there, sitting right there. It's an SB. That's a little piece. I can take that thing with me anywhere. I got two of those. So I take them with me if I need to go do something quick, like put together a set real fast, do a radio mix, anything like that. I'll use something like that just to quickly put together a mix. And all I got to do is plug that in my computer, in and out, it records it.
Put your hard drive on and go to work.
Yeah, and it's easy. I think the technology has made it easier. I think it's made DJs lazier.
I agree with you on that one.
People don't really take the skills
Seriously.
like the same things that
used to be.
Yeah, the way it used to be. You had to learn how to beat match by ear. You couldn't look at a screen. Like, I know how to mix by ear. I don't look at my screen the whole time. Sometimes I do, and I find myself doing that, and then I gotta slap myself like, stop looking at your screen. You're supposed to be looking at your hands, and listening by ear, and then also just like learning your music. A lot of guys don't learn their music. Like, learning your music means you're listening to those things. You're finding those different things within the tracks and the music itself to make your sets different. Like using wordplay, tone play, whatever it is. That stuff is technical. One of my favorite DJs to this day is one of my good friends, DJ Spider Tech. He's right here in Colorado Springs, DJing. Shout out to Spider Tech. That's my guy. He's killing it right now. He has residencies in Las Vegas. He's opening for Pitbull. He has his own radio station on Sirius XM, or his own radio hour that he does. And he's spinning that. Yeah, that's what it's about. But those skills is what took him there.
Right.
That's what got him to the point. So I think what's missing right now, lacking, is the skills. That's what's changed the most, is the skills, the laziness that comes with it. Because We got USBs now. You can just plug stuff in, go straight to the CDJ, plug it in like that, and keep it moving. You didn't have to bring the crates. You didn't have to learn to mix by ear. You don't have to do all that. Everything's in front of you, and you can see it instead of hearing it. And that's the big thing. DJs are for you to listen to. And so much of it today, and especially in music and everything, there's so much visual to it. And I think that's what's lost, at least in my opinion, because definitely people ain't listening no more. They don't listen to the skills. They want to hear the songs.
Right.
Because they're not listening. I know when I go to the club, I hate going to the club because I know if I don't like the DJ, I'm going to walk out of there. Like, it makes me sick. Like, I'm like, all right, I got to get out of here.
So y'all sound like chefs when y'all got to taste other people's food right
Facts.
now.
Yeah, that's the same thing. It's kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing. It's kind of